Berkeley's curious idealism. A skeptical view? George Berkeley, another 18th century philosopher, offers a metaphysical perspective that is both deeply intriguing and, at first glance, quite peculiar. His form of idealism claims to be the most commonsensical way of understanding the world, even though it might sound strange to those unfamiliar with philosophical discourse. Berkeley's ideas challenge our everyday assumptions about the nature of reality, prompting us to rethink what it means for something to exist. At the core of Berkeley's philosophy is the assertion that the objects we perceive, stones, trees, books, apples, and so forth, are not material substances existing independently of our minds. Instead, Berkeley argues that these objects are nothing more than collections or bundles of ideas. When we perceive an apple, for example, we are actually experiencing a combination of visual ideas, such as color and shape, tangible ideas like texture, and other sensory ideas, such as taste and smell. According to Berkeley, these ideas are the fundamental building blocks of all that we perceive. In this view, ordinary objects do exist, but their existence is dependent on being perceived by a mind. Berkeley sums up this idea with the phrase esse est percipi, or to be is to be perceived. This means that for anything to exist in the physical world, it must be perceived by a mind. If no one perceives an object, it does not exist in the way we typically understand existence. Berkeley's idealism leads to a radical conclusion. There is no material world, at least not in the way most people think of it. According to Berkeley, the physical world is entirely mind-dependent, composed solely of ideas rather than material substances. These ideas exist only insofar as they are perceived. This does not mean that Berkeley denies the existence of the world we experience daily. On the contrary, he insists that the world of ordinary objects is very real, just not in the way we might have thought. For Berkeley, what we call objects are really just stable collections of ideas that we consistently perceive together. For instance, the collection of ideas that includes the color red, the taste of sweetness, and the round shape might be perceived together and named apple. This bundling of ideas into objects is partly an objective fact. Certain ideas tend to co-occur in our experience, and partly something we do when we assign names to these bundles. Berkeley's idealism might sound strange, even counterintuitive to those who take the existence of a material world for granted. However, Berkeley sees his philosophy as a way to avoid skepticism about the existence and nature of the world around us. If we accept that all we ever perceive are ideas, then questioning the existence of these ideas, and thus the existence of objects, becomes much harder. By denying the existence of matter, Berkeley believes he can preserve our everyday experiences of the world while avoiding the doubts that plague materialist philosophies. This approach makes Berkeley's idealism a curious form of skepticism. While he denies the existence of matter, he does so in order to affirm the reality of the physical world we interact with every day. For Berkeley, skepticism about the material world leads to a deeper understanding of reality, a reality that is fundamentally about perception and mind.